Did Toto Wolff make a mistake by getting Kimi Antonelli into Formula One when he was just 18 years old? Looks like yes. In this video, we are going to go through some of the incidents that Kimi Antonelli has had, some mistakes that he did, some races that went away from him, some situations that he instigated. We will analyze them and we will analyze how his reaction to those incidents were in order to prove the point that getting him into Formula One at this stage is clearly a mistake, or he is not the prodigy that Toto Wolff thought he was. That will be very, very clear as the video goes along. We will start with the first incident from Red Bull Ring 2025, where Kimi Antonelli took out star of the show, Max Verstappen, into turn 3. So the audio is shut off because I don't want to get into trouble. So let's just watch the video. This is like a close-up of Charles Leclerc. And here, Antonelli coming in locked up, hits Max Verstappen. He is thinking that I am not going to lose position if I just don't brake or brake very much later. Then I'll overtake everybody. He doesn't think that this is the start of the race. He is punched up in the midfield and there's a corner coming up. He completely doesn't think about these factors, which are like, I think is very, very obvious. And then he just goes full steam and he brakes extremely hard. And that's why he locks up the rears, right? Like when you're putting in too much of braking energy. And he also lost the fronts, the front to also get locked up as he moves further into the corner. Look at it. So he's coming in and he braked and both of the rears and the fronts lock up. Let's look at his reaction. What did he say after the race? He told, I didn't necessarily brake too late. It's just that when I braked hard because I was behind other cars. And in that moment, I locked the rears. Then I just couldn't stop the car. One of the key things of braking hard, you brake too hard because obviously you want to brake further into the corner, like compared to your rivals, so that you're gonna go ahead and make the overtake stick. But another reason you brake hard than necessary is because you are too close and you're carrying too much of a speed, and it's kind of like, the only option you have left. Or you just misjudged the braking pressure, like that you should apply on your feet, which I don't think is the case, because he has been driving neatly pretty much throughout the entire weekend. His qualifying was not as impressive, but like throughout the 2025 Austrian Grand Prix weekend, it's not like Kimi Antonelli was misjudging the amount of pressure you need to apply on the brake pedal, and he applied it too hard here and there. You apply it hard when you're trying to find the time, or when you have already made a mistake of braking too late. You deliberately brake too late because obviously that's a part of the racecraft. But if you misjudge it by too much, you have to brake hard, extremely hard, to compensate for the lack of the distance, and then you lock up. And when you lock up, there is literally zero grip between the tire and the tarmac, and you don't stop, and like braking is not happening, right? When the wheels are spinning and the brake pedals are the brake discs are being decelerated by the brake pads, that's when the braking happens. But when it is locked up, like that action is not happening. All of the momentum becomes the sliding momentum instead of rolling momentum, and you keep on going. And the reason why it happened is because he actually braked a little bit too late, and he misjudged it and had to compensate it by braking hard. So his perception about the situation is wrong. You did make a mistake. You have to put your hands up and say that you fucked up. Now, maybe he's PR trained to not say this in front of camera. Lando Norris is the only guy, but I'm pretty sure all the other guys admit their mistakes as well. They don't beat themselves up like Lando Norris, but they're not so in denial like Kimi Antonelli. He just acknowledges that, I apologize to Max because I took Max out and stuff like that. but you have to say that I fucked up in some type of way. It's not about beating yourself up. Say that, oh, it was just a driver error, I made a mistake, it happens. Sorry that I took Max out, and I went ahead and apologized to him. You can just say that. But when you go ahead and say, I didn't necessarily brake too late, it looks like you were in denial. And in the second incident, where Kimi Antonelli, an Italian, took out a Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, the prodigy of Ferrari, this is what has happened. So he's going into turn 3, trying to make an overtake on Charles Leclerc. He takes the inside line. Here's an interesting part. The inside line, it means you will cover less distance, but it also means you will carry less speed because of the banking nature of turn 3 in Zandvoort. Charles Leclerc knows this. That's why he's taking the outside line. Even if he has to travel more distance around the outside, he can carry more speed, which will compensate for the low speed in the inside line. Kimi Antonelli doesn't know that. And he just, because of the banking, he runs out of road and hit Charles Leclerc and takes Charles Leclerc out of the race. Let's see what he has to say. I didn't feel like I overshot massively. It was a bit unfortunate. And this is the thing. The first thing is he did overshoot massively. Based on the track characteristics of that corner, he did overshoot. You should not be carrying that much of the speed if you're in the inside line in turn 3 in Zandvoort. And if you are, you have to start braking early in order to get the car to turn because of the banking of the corner that you are supposed to know. You drove through that banking many laps in a row throughout the entire Dutch Grand Prix weekend. You have to keep that in mind that, okay, if I take the inside line, the turning will come fast because I have to turn the car quickly. And if I have to turn the car quickly, I cannot be carrying so much of speed as if I'm on the outside line. You know what I mean? When Charles Leclerc carried too much of speed, not this video, this one, when Charles Leclerc was carrying so much speed, you can see that he's on the outside line, and because of the banking, he can carry more speed. Now, Kimi Antonelli cannot carry the same speed in the inside line because, first of all, it's the inside line, less meters, tighter turning, so obviously you have to slow down, and the banking is also another reason that the top of the corner arrives quickly, more quicker than anticipated, and then you have to brake even more because of that. So he did overshoot massively. If you analyze the corner as a race car driver, you have to think about these things. You have to think about, okay, this is the corner, this is how much I can push into that corner in order to try to make an overtake, or try to at least make the corner. You know what I mean? So he did overshoot massively, and then he contradicts himself. It was a bit unfortunate because while I was trying to keep it tight, it came down from the banking, and that was the moment when the contact happened. Yeah, no shit. So it came down from the banking, which means he acknowledges that the characteristic of the track, that if you take that line, the corner will arrive quickly and the turn will be too tight. You cannot open the steering as much, which means you have to slow down, otherwise the car will spin. Sebastian Vettel went through that. Was it Sebastian Vettel? Yeah, Sebastian Vettel actually had a spin while going through that. Fernando Alonso, I think, is the only driver who can, who I think successfully made an overtake through the inside line around turn 3 in Zandvoort. But Sebastian Vettel, sometime in Zandvoort, while taking that corner in the same exact racing line as Kimi Antonelli did, but he was carrying a bit too more speed, he tried to turn it more. His car, Aston Martin at the time, just spun. So Kimi Antonelli had to understand that you have to keep it tight, and you cannot keep it tight. He was trying to keep it tight. You cannot keep it tight because you are carrying so much speed, and if you force the car to turn, then it will spin. So he acknowledges the characteristic of the corner. He made the mistake because he forgot about this characteristic of the corner, and he just said that it is unfortunate rather than acknowledging the mistake. And he starts his answers by saying that I didn't feel. It's not about feelings, young man. This is not Formula One Academy. This is Formula One, period. So you have to say things for as it is. Okay, I made a mistake. I fucked up. That's literally it. And then comes the 2025 Monza Grand Prix incident. So let's talk about that. First, let's look at the race start. As you can see in the bottom of the screen towards here, over here, that you have Kimi Antonelli. We will just let it play, and this is the start of the race. See what happens. How many positions he dropped. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th. He's 6th in this, still in this frame. Let's see how far he drops. So that initial launch, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He lost about 5 positions at the start of the race, and then as the race progressed, he was fighting against Alexander Albon in a Williams, who was driving a Williams, and he pushed him wide, got a 5-second penalty, and eventually finished, where did he finish? Yes, finished P9. We'll talk about the standings, final standings in a second. But first, let's see his reaction, because the race start was compromised, and with Alexander Albon, he clearly made a mistake. He moved under braking. And let's see what he has to say. It was a shame, as my pace on the medium tire once I was in clear was good. In the closing stages, I was trying to defend from Albon, but unfortunately picked up a penalty. There's a lot of unfortunately and feelings in here. That dropped me for one more position from the flag, which is frustrating. And initially, he just acknowledged I had a bad start with too much wheel spin. I lost a lot of places, and that obviously compromised less, unfortunately. There's a lot of unfortunately with Andrea Kimi Antonelli in these type of situations. Did he use the word unfortunately in this one? Where is it? I didn't necessarily blah blah blah. That is going to stop the car. Blah blah blah. Sorry for the team. Okay. Here he just said super sorry to the team. But in reality, you have to acknowledge the mistake. You did brake too late in Austria. You did overshoot massively in Zandvoort. And it was your screw up when you're trying to defend from Albon. You didn't just pick up a penalty, unfortunately. That doesn't happen. You moved under braking. You got too desperate. And you moved under braking. And let's look at the pace between Alexander Albon and Kimi Antonelli. You can see that the dark blue is Alex Albon in a Williams. And the light blue, the one below this one, is Kimi Antonelli. In the initial part of the race, they're just trading faster lap times. So, like for the major part in this part of the race, Alex Albon and Kimi Antonelli have similar lap times, which is crazy because Alex Albon is in a Williams and Kimi Antonelli is supposed to be the next Max Verstappen. Anyway, we move on, and here you can see Kimi Antonelli goes a little bit faster than Alex Albon. He continues that for a few more laps. But after that, Alex Albon is now faster than Kimi Antonelli till the end of the race. You have to take all of these things into account. So overall, if you kind of neutralize everything, 50-50, blah, 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 you can realize that Alexander Albon more or less has same pace compared to Kimi Antonelli. He was not that massively faster than a Williams. He is supposed to be the next Max Verstappen. Around the temple of speed in a Mercedes, he's slower than a Williams. That's very interesting to see. And he's out there, he's not even acknowledging that I got too desperate defending from Albon and moved under braking, picked up a penalty. You have to kind of like say that. And he also made a few other mistakes. This is pointed out by Toto Wolff. He went off a few times. A couple of times he went off off the track into the gravel bed, which is definitely not good for your tires and your pace. All of this, if you combine all of the things that I just mentioned, it's more than concerning because anyone can have a run of few bad race weekends in Formula One. We know how the sport works. But when your pace is like this, when a Williams is almost as fast as you, and in the race, like if you look at here, it is the starting grid. In the start, Kimi Antonelli lined up P6 on the grid for the race start, and Alexander Albon was P14. But because Alexander Albon did not fuck up his race start and also didn't try to get too desperate while defending someone and had good defending skills and didn't get a 5-second penalty, he managed to finish ahead of Kimi Antonelli in P7, and Kimi Antonelli was P9. Big shout out to Isaac Hajar as well. And this, brings me to think that it's not just the mistakes here and there or the weekends going away here and there. Anyone can have that. Any Formula One driver, especially a rookie, can have a string of bad weekends. I get it, but this is too concerning. When your pace is, as similar as to a Williams, it is a bit concerning. He is struggling to defend against a Williams. He's struggling to keep the car on the track. Even when he is not fighting with anybody, he is overshooting corners left, right, and center. And he doesn't even have the balls, I guess, to accept the truth and say that it's my mistake. You did make some mistakes, bro. You brake too late because you got too greedy. That was too ambitious of a move. And you did overshoot massively trying to overtake Charles Leclerc. You could have waited, baited your move, got comfortable with the car. It's not like if you're genuinely faster, you could have made the move. You couldn't have made the move later, but it is what it is. I don't want to talk about if and but you did overshoot massively. At least call the thing for as it is. And Monza was just a shit show. The qualifying looked good, man. After qualifying, I'm like, okay, he just needs to execute the weekend clearly, but clearly, in the race by himself, he's going out, picking up penalties, colliding with people. It's like unbelievable. If you look at all of the rookies in the Formula One grid, he is one of the least impressive ones. I would say the most impressive rookie is Oliver Behrman. Then you gotta go with Isaac Hajar, or maybe Isaac Hajar is the most impressive rookie. Isaac, Oliver Behrman, and then now Gabriel Bortoleto. Even I would say Franco Colapinto is now improving so much. He is, obviously his journey in Formula One is rocky. But recently he's starting to close the gap to Pierre Gasly in qualifying and in race pace. So that's impressive to see. I think it's a matter of time before they have a competitive car. Hopefully they get a competitive car next year so we can start to see Franco Colapinto's real performance. But he is also starting to get his shit together. And that's insane. If someone from a broken house is doing better than you, then you have to be concerned. And Kimi Antonelli, with all of the support around him, with all of the warmth and the competent people of Mercedes are around him, and with that he's fucking it up and making these type of mistakes, Toto Wolff need to go ahead and reassess his thing, because for the remaining 8 races of the 2025 Formula 1 season, you basically cannot expect much out of this kid. You have to be like, swallow your ego and be like, what, we fucked up a little bit. We need to give him a bit more time to get used to Formula One and the pressure of it and the complexity and the pace of it. So yeah, I just don't think that he's the prodigy that he was advertised to be. And he still doesn't have a contract renewed, but Toto Wolff has assured that George Russell and Kimi Antonelli will be staying with the team. I guess we will see when everything is finalized in the contract situation, and I'm looking forward to Azerbaijan, Baku, especially all eyes on Kimi Antonelli because he needs to go ahead and get his shit together. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.